Mike, Mora and Helen Broughton, would you come forward? So I think you've got between 5 and 8 minutes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, councillors. We will be referring to page 466, 467 and 468 of your order paper. That's the recommendation that came from our Community Board's extraordinary meeting, where we had several deputations and made some minor changes to the staff's recommendation. So our board asked for or supports the Westfield site both in the short and long term, and recommends that negotiations with Westfields commence with urgency. So that's what we're asking for. And if those negotiations are to fail, then our board recommended that the staff recommendations with the minor alterations be adopted. We also suggest that a temporary lounge on the present site could be accommodated or considered on the Westfield site in the meantime until negotiations have been concluded. And the other thing that we would like to suggest is consideration be given to the proposed 123, 125 site, that change of use of that building from a retail to a passenger lounge may require that building to be brought up to 100% of the code, because it is a change of use. So that would alter the figures quite considerably, I believe. So really that's where we're coming from. We got quite excited when we seen the resolution that was passed by the Infrastructure and Transport and Green Environment Committee. And that is the recommendation that we've got in front of us. It refers to the recommendation above. So we'd be quite happy if that recommendation above is the one that we're actually talking about today. So if it's not, we're just still reinforcing our support for the Westfield site in the short to long term, and that the resolutions or the amendments to the staff recommendation be adopted, and also that we look at a temporary lounge on the present site until negotiations have either been successful or not. When we talk about temporary facilities on that site, something more like a Northlands Mall type of consideration. Could remove some of the landscaping, planting down the front of Westfield boundary and Riccarton Road. But I think that would be a lot better for most of the submitters. Have actually, the community prefer that site. Okay, so we've been told that negotiations have been commenced and failed and commenced and failed. I'm not sure where they're at, but what we're asking for is for negotiations to continue. And that's the preferred site as far as our community board's concerned. And that was a unanimous resolution. Helen?
Yes, I'm just going to pick up on one small issue, and that is Cowrie Street, Riccarton Road, and the thoroughfare of traffic through that. The residents were consulted. There were three issues. One, the lack of access out of Cowrie Street. So council has fixed that, so that's good. It's left in, left out. Mm. The second issue was some of the parking at the edge of Cowrie and Rata, and that's been changed, so that's good. So the third issue, and this is the more concerning one, and a number of residents spoke about it, is they're really concerned that more cars will turn off from Riccarton Road into Cowrie, then go through Rata and connect with Kahu Road or Straven Road. It is currently a thoroughfare and people are concerned that that will be increased. And the board did recommend, and I put that in front of you, that what you would do is that we're asking for that there be a review after 9 months. So the residents are concerned of increased flows through Kauri Rata. The staff say that isn't their intention. It's not what they want. We can't, or we and the residents can't prove this is going to happen. So the sensible thing would be to do a review at the end of 9 months. Now, I'm not talking about a formal review. You just have a look at this. If it's a problem, then you would have a look further. If it's not a problem, you just leave it. So you might want to change the wording around that, but that is the view from the residents, and it's certainly what went through the community board. So I'm just speaking on that specific issue.
Any questions?
I'll ask, yes, Jimmy Chin.
First one, the community board, based on your recommendations, support a waste fuel site in both the short term and long term.
Yes.
And also recommend, negotiate with waste fuel with the urgency.
Yes.
But in here also in the last sentence, you particularly mentioned, if further negotiation fail, then the board recommend go to the staff recommendation. I just want to ask one first question. So the community board thought the waste field is only one, is the unique location, or is only the is kind of a favorable location? If negotiate with fail, then you still would like to follow the staff recommendation.
Thank you, Jimmy. What we didn't, or Councillor Chin, what we didn't want to do was to hold the process up unduly if negotiations, and I'm talking about serious negotiations, were to fail with Westfields. But I'm unsure of that, whether serious negotiations will fail. But if they do, we did not want to be awkward and hold up the process. So what we did was we looked through the staff's recommendations and made some minor changes to those, and that is what is immediately above your committee recommendation. And if I was a Cockney bus driver, I would understand that the resolution, the recommendations above the committee recommendation is the recommendations that this committee, this council is considering.
Okay. Thank you, Mike.
Second question, yeah. But review the page 468.
Yes.
Regarding to the infrastructure committee and also the environment committee recommendation, do you think they go with the community board recommendation or not?
That is
based on your understanding.
My understanding. If I was a Cockney bus driver and reading this report, I would understand that the recommendations. That in 6.19, the above recommendations be approved. That's what I would see as the recommendations that are being approved, that were approved by the committee. That's what was on the screen at the Transport Infrastructure and Environment Committee when that recommendation was put. So that's what I would understand.
Thanks, Mike, for pointing that out. Well,
yep.
Originally that had been a staff recommendation, but we can have that clarified. Thank you.
Okay.
Tim, did you have a question?
Helen, thank you for the information you've put in front of us. So with regards to the third paragraph, the concerns from residents is that Kauri Rata will receive a huge increase in traffic as cars turn off Riccarton Road, attempt to avoid the bus hub. This is already occurring. Many communities in Christchurch over the last few years have really experienced rat racing or rat running.
Yes, I know.
And so I'd imagine with the congestion on Riccarton Road, that is happening, as you've already alluded to,
yes,
that's happening already.
We've got it already.
Yeah, and with increased congestion on Riccarton Road, that is just going to increase and it will get worse and worse. So are you saying that you feel that the bus hub will add to that?
Well, it's a concern from a large number of residents. Now, whether that concern is real has yet to be seen.
Well,
There's currently a flow. I live in Rata. There's currently a flow, which people mumble about, but so that's okay. I mean, it's happening now.
Yep.
It's whether it changes dramatically,
Well,
and that's the issue.
Well, the concern is real because it's happening already, and it's happening throughout Christchurch
Yes, it's
in
happening.
many communities.
Yep.
But I guess with regards to putting it at an increase and blaming a bus hub rather than the increased congestion is, I suppose, conjecture at the moment, and it would.
Yes, it's conjecture. Intriguingly, when Kahu Road was closed off, and that's the road past Boys High School, and it was closed off for 2 months, we had a real reduction in cars shortcutting Rickerton Road because they couldn't get on to Kahu Road. So we have experienced a reduction as well. It's now back to normal levels.
Thank you, Helen.
And
We're
not saying
Helen,
we shouldn't
can I interrupt, please?
have normal
I am
levels.
speaking. We have actually gone over time with your deputation, so I'm probably with this in mind, I'm going to ask you now to finish, and because we've got quite a lot of other people making deputations. So certainly, thank you very much, though, for making your deputation, for both of you, the board, and your comments too, Helen.
Thank you.
So Dame Margaret Baisley and Commissioner Rex Williams are here.